Okay, this is GoMath lesson 2.2, and in this lesson students are using comparison problems, and they are using algebra in order to figure out the unknowns in the comparison problem. So for instance, you might have a problem that says something like Taylor has 32 vegetables. And in Taylor's basket of 32 vegetables, there are 7 times as many carrots as there are tomatoes. So the first thing I have, and then the question will say, how many carrots does Taylor have? Okay, or how many tomatoes does Taylor have? The first thing I have students do is identify the two things that are being compared. Well, the first thing is carrots, and the second thing is tomatoes. So they need to write those out to the side. And then I have them tell me one is a number times as many as the other ones. And so the student should read the problem and see, oh, there are 7 times as many carrots. Well, since there are 7 times as many carrots, carrots need 7 boxes. So I have them draw boxes like that. Make sure there's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the tomatoes get 1 box because there's still tomatoes in there, but there's only 1 group of tomatoes, whereas the carrots, there would be 7 groups of those carrots that are the same size as the tomato group. And now what the students do is they ask themselves, do I know how many carrots? No. Do I know how many tomatoes? No. Do I know the total number of vegetables? Yeah. The total number of vegetables are 32. There are 32 vegetables in the basket, but I don't know how many of which one. So what I do is I mark the boxes with an unknown. We've been using n for the unknown. The lesson asks students to use n for an unknown. So n represents a number for each of those boxes. Now students have to set up a math problem in order to find the unknown. So they count the number of n's that they have all together. There's 7 here and 1 here. So that would make 8 n's. 8 times n will equal the total number of vegetables, which is 32. And then students have to think, well, 8 times what will give me 32? I know 8 times 4 is 32, so the value of n is 4. Now, the most confusing part for students is they say, oh, so the answer is 4, but that's not necessarily the case. 4 goes wherever there's an n. So now all of these boxes are worth 4. But the answer depends on what question is being asked. So for instance, if the question wants to know how many carrots, students will have to look at the total number of carrots. So there's obviously not 4 carrots, there's 7 groups of 4. So 7 times 4 equals 28. Therefore, there are 28 carrots. If the question was wanting to know how many tomatoes, students would then look at the tomato box. Well, n is worth 4 and there's only 1 box, so therefore there are 1 box times 4 is equal to 4 tomatoes. Every once in a while you might get a question where it's going to say, how many more carrots are there than tomatoes? So students first need to find out how many carrots there are. Well, we decided that there are 28. How many tomatoes that there are? We decided that there are 4. And since the question asks how many more, we will set up a subtraction problem. 28 carrots minus 4 tomatoes equals 24. There are 24 more carrots than tomatoes. And that is a basic overview of how students will complete lesson 2.2.